Hi everyone, it's Nicole. We're talking about healthy eating habits. We are going to read chapter 4 of our healthy eating book. I will share my screen with you. And we are going to talk about chapter 4, which is the science of healthy eating. So over the years, obviously, the science and the understanding of healthy eating has changed. So we're going to go back in time and look at how it first started. Our knowledge of healthy eating practices has changed over time. In ancient Rome, people thought eating cabbage would cure illness. In ancient Egypt, people ate onions to sleep better. The first nutrition experiment did not take place until the 1700s. At this time, sailors at sea often came down with an illness called scurvy. Their gums bled and their teeth fell out. Ew. They felt worn out and sometimes they died. Poor nutrition made sailing on long journeys very dangerous. A cure for scurvy. In 1747, Scottish doctor James Lind looked for a cure for scurvy. He fed different foods to 12 sailors. Only the 2 sailors who ate oranges and lemons got well. Lind did not know how important his findings were. In the 1930s, vitamin C was discovered in these fruits. The lack of this vitamin was the cause of scurvy. After James Lind's experiment, more than 40 years went by before sailors started bringing citrus fruits on ships. Studying the stomach. In 1823, U.S. Army surgeon William Beaumont began a study of how food breaks down. He was called to treat a man who had been shot in the stomach. The man had a very large wound. Beaumont operated on him, but could not close the hole. The man lived with Beaumont for the next 10 years. During this time, Beaumont watched how his stomach worked. Beaumont wanted to see how different kinds of food broke down in the stomach. He tied strings around small food pieces. Then he dropped them into the man's marble-sized wound. Every hour, Beaumont pulled the food out, studied it, and put it back. He saw how stomach juices break foods apart. He also saw that certain foods take longer to break apart than others. Here it's a picture of Dr. Beaumont inserting a tube into the hole of Alex St. Martin's stomach. Atwater's machine. In the early 1900s, American scientist Wilbur Olin Atwater studied how the body uses food. He built a machine that measured how much heat a person's body produced after eating different foods and then doing certain activities. This showed how much energy, or calories, the foods contained. Scientists now understood how much food was needed for daily living. Atwater's findings helped Olympic athletes learn how to eat healthier. Remember what we were thinking about? Trying to figure out true and false. Atwater's findings helped Olympic athletes learn how to eat healthier. Wonder if that's a clue. By the 20th century, it was known that spoiled food makes people sick. In 1906, the U.S. government began protecting people from unclean foods. Around the same time, scientists also began studying why certain foods keep people healthy. In 1912, Polish scientist Casimir Funk discovered certain materials in food that could cure sickness. He called them vitamins. Around the same time, Irish doctor Robert McCarson began studying nutrition. His investigations continued into the 1930s. He thought many people got sick because so many nutrients were removed from food as they were being prepared for sale. McCarson also argued vitamins were not the only substances in food that keep people healthy. Both of these ideas were found to be true, and today's nutritionists still agree. So here's the timeline they have of food and health. In 1747 was when Dr. James Lind gives citrus fruits to sailors with scurvy. In 1823, Dr. William Beaumont studies how food is broken down in the stomach. So from 1747 to 1800, that's 53 years. And then you add that to another 23, and that makes 66. No, 53 and 23 is 76 years. So between the time that Dr. James Lind and Dr. Beaumont, it was 76 years. And then we had to wait all the way for 77 years to get to the early 1900s, at least 77 years, when Wilbur Atwater figured out how much energy comes from different foods. And then in a 10 years time, they figured out vitamins A, C, and D. And in 2011, which was only 9 years ago, the US government introduced the My Plate food guide. So as you can see, as time goes on, we learn more and more about healthy eating. During the 20th century, the US government started a variety of nutrition programs to help make sure children and adults got enough healthy food. However, different people and groups had different ideas about how to plan a healthy diet. In 1980, the government solved this by issuing its first official dietary guidelines for Americans. All US food programs now follow this guide. Food is a big part of our lives. It is important to find a balance between eating things because they taste good and eating them because they contain nutrients. But with all the information we have about food and nutrition today, it is easier than ever to eat healthy. By simply paying more attention to what goes on your plate, you can be stronger and smarter than ever before. What kinds of healthy meals will you eat? Will you try fish? How about some chicken? Some vegetables, some kale. I know a lot of you have tried kale when they served it in the CDR. Be willing to try new things. Our true statistics. The number of sailors who died from scurvy from 1500 to 1800 was about 2 million. 2 million sailors. Amount of your body that is made up of water, half of your body is made up of water. The length of time water stays in your stomach after you drink it, about 5 minutes. The calories the average American consumes per day is 2,544 calories. The amount of pizza Americans eat, about 350 slices per second. It's a lot. The amount of meat the average American eats per year, now that's an entire year, that's 12 months, 365 days, is 125 pounds. 125 pounds of meat every year. When we were reading, did you find the truth? The true statement was today's Olympic athletes eat healthy because of discoveries made in the 1900s. And it was false. It is never healthy to eat fat. That is false. We're going to close our book. I'm going to move myself down, and we are going to take a quick quiz when I come back again. So make healthy choices. Eat good foods. Be ready for the quiz. Remember everything we talked about. See you soon.